The film opens with a bleak depiction of a future world where urban decay and societal breakdown are evident. This dystopian setting immediately establishes the tone and atmosphere of the film, conveying a sense of foreboding and uncertainty. Through Joe's voiceover narration, we are introduced to the concept of looper and the mechanics of time travel. The juxtaposition of futuristic technology with the gritty reality of Joe's life as a hired killer sets the stage for the moral dilemmas and existential themes that will be explored throughout the film. In this scene, we witness the brutal efficiency of the looping process as Joe carries out his duties as a looper. The clinical nature of the execution, coupled with the callous indifference of both Joe and his victims, underscores the dehumanizing effect of violence and the moral ambiguity of Joe's profession. The visual imagery of the silver bars being extracted from the victims' bodies serves as a powerful metaphor for the commodification of human life and the moral compromises inherent in Joe's line of work. This scene provides insight into Joe's mundane existence and his disillusionment with his life as a looper. Through a series of vignettes, we see Joe engaging in hedonistic pursuits and numbing his existential angst with drugs and casual sex. The repetition and monotony of Joe's daily routine emphasize the emptiness and futility of his existence as he seeks solace in fleeting pleasures and material comfort. This scene sets the stage for Joe's journey of self-discovery and redemption as he confronts the consequences of his actions. Failure of Seth to close his loop serves as a catalyst for the unfolding events of the film, disrupting the fragile equilibrium of Joe's world. Seth's capture by Abe's henchmen and subsequent interrogation highlight the ruthless efficiency of the criminal underworld and the high stakes involved in the looper business. The tension between Joe and Seth underscores the moral ambiguity of their profession and foreshadows the ethical dilemmas that Joe will grapple with later in the film. Joe's moral dilemma is brought to the forefront in this scene as he wrestles with the decision to betray his friend Seth or face the consequences himself. The conflict between loyalty and self-preservation reflects the internal struggle that Joe grapples with throughout the film as he confronts the moral implications of his actions and the choices that define his identity. This scene serves as a pivotal moment of character development for Joe, laying the groundwork for his transformation and redemption. The encounter between Joe and older Seth introduces a new layer of complexity to the narrative as older Seth reveals the existence of the rainmaker and the consequences of Joe's actions. The dynamic between Joe and older Seth is fraught with tension and mistrust as they confront the paradoxes of time travel and the implications of altering the past. This scene sets the stage for the central conflict of the film and raises questions about fate, free will, and the nature of destiny. Older Seth's escape marks a turning point in the plot as Joe is forced to confront the consequences of his failure to close his loop. The scene is characterized by tension and suspense as Joe grapples with the ramifications of older Seth's actions and the escalating threats posed by Abe's henchmen. This scene sets the stage for the escalating conflict between Joe and his older self as they are drawn into a deadly game of cat and mouse, far-reaching consequences. Joe's investigation into the Rainmaker's identity adds a new dimension to the narrative as he delves deeper into the mysteries of the future and the forces that shape his destiny. The scene is characterized by intrigue and suspense as Joe uncovers clues and follows leads in his quest for answers. This scene sets the stage for the revelation of the Rainmaker's true identity, and the final showdown will determine the fate of Joe and those he cares about. The introduction of Sarah and Sid provides a respite from the intensity of Joe's pursuit as he seeks refuge at their remote farmhouse. The tranquil setting and pastoral imagery contrast sharply with the chaos of Joe's world, highlighting the themes of refuge and redemption. The dynamic between Joe and Sarah is fraught with tension and mistrust as they navigate their burgeoning relationship and confront the secrets that bind them together. This scene sets the stage for the emotional journey that Joe will embark on as he forms a bond with Sarah and Sid. Joe's growing bond with Sid serves as a catalyst for his transformation and redemption as he becomes emotionally invested in the boy's welfare. The scene is characterized by intimacy and vulnerability as Joe opens up to Sid about his past and his desires for the future. The dynamic between Joe and Sid is fraught with tension and uncertainty as they navigate the complexities of their relationship and confront the demons that haunt them both. This scene sets the stage for Joe's ultimate sacrifice, realization of his true purpose. Older Joe's relentless pursuit of the Rainmaker drives the narrative forward as he becomes increasingly desperate to alter the future and save his wife. The scene is characterized by tension and suspense as older Joe confronts the ethical implications of his quest for vengeance and the consequences of his actions. The dynamic between older Joe and his adversaries is fraught with complexity and ambiguity as he grapples with the moral dilemmas that define his character. This scene sets the stage for the final confrontation that will determine the fate of Joe and those he cares about. Sid's manifestation of telekinetic powers adds a supernatural element to the narrative as he grapples with the implications of his abilities and the role they play in shaping his destiny. The scene is characterized by tension and suspense as Sid struggles to control his powers and navigate the dangers that surround him. The dynamic between Sid and Joe is fraught with uncertainty and mistrust as they confront the mysteries of the future and the forces that seek to control them. This scene sets the stage for the final showdown to determine the fate of Joe and those he cares about. The final confrontation between Joe, Sarah, and the Rainmaker's henchmen is a high-stakes showdown that tests the character's resolve and resilience. The scene is characterized by tension and suspense as Joe and Sarah fight to protect Sid from harm and confront the demons that haunt them both. The dynamic between Joe, Sarah, and Sid is fraught with emotion and complexity as they confront the truths that bind them together and the sacrifices they must make to secure their future. This scene sets the stage for the ultimate showdown between Joe and his older self as they confront the consequences of their action and the choices that define their destiny. Joe's self-sacrifice is a poignant moment of redemption and catharsis as he confronts his own mortality and embraces his destiny. The scene is characterized by emotional intensity and pathos as Joe makes the ultimate sacrifice to ensure Sid's safety and redemption. The dynamic between Joe and his older self is fraught with tension and ambiguity as they confront the consequences of their action and the choices that have led them to this moment. This scene represents the culmination of Joe's character arc as he transcends his own selfish desire and embraces his role as a hero. Older Joe's realization of the futility of his quest for vengeance is a moment of profound self-awareness and redemption. The scene is characterized by introspection and contemplation as older Joe confronts the consequences of his action and accepts responsibility for his role in shaping the future. The dynamic between older Joe and his younger self is fraught with complexity and ambiguity as they confront the paradoxes of time travel and the implications of altering the past. This scene represents the culmination of older Joe's character arc as he makes the ultimate sacrifice to ensure Sid's safety and redemption. The resolution of the film provides a sense of closure and catharsis as Joe sacrifices